What is up, everyone? I'm Skratch. Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, I am a bit late with this because I completely messed up the embargo. I thought that it's gonna be 4:30. I looked at a different thing. So they shared some more information with us. Still, they haven't shared what is going to happen in terms of is there an IP collaboration? Is it something else? We can assume that it is, but they haven't actually confirmed it, right? They did share some other info with us, so I'm quickly gonna go over that. Basically, we have a new event dungeon, new boss, new gear set. We're gonna have a look at basically what is all that stuff. So this is the boss right here. The event dungeon is back with a brand new badass boss. This event dungeon will be available only during the time limited event. It features 30 stages, normal difficulty, with difficulty rising with each stage. There will be no waves, only a boss battle, but beware as this boss won't be alone, but joined by mighty warriors, unique for each stage of the dungeon. Very similar with the previous one. So the actual skill set, I'm not sure if you guys can actually read that on the screen, but let me see if by any chance I've downloaded that part so we can actually have a look. And I think I did. Yes, I did indeed. So let me just make it a bit bigger on the screen. So it's gonna be Void, HP, Shadowkin. So the boss is gonna be a Shadowkin. Attacks an enemy 3 times. The second and third hit of this skill will ignore 5% and 10% of the target's defense respectively. The second and third hit of this skill will deal 10% and 20% more crit damage respectively. So it seems like it's going to be an HP damage dealer. Second skill attacks all enemies twice. Each critical hit destroys the enemy's defense by 5%, stacking up to 30. Each critical hit will also increase the champion's max HP by 5%, stacking up to 30. Each hit has a chance of placing a leech debuff for 2 turns, and this debuff cannot be resisted if the champion is under a veil or a perfect veil. This is going to be the champion's kit, guys. We already know that, right? Because usually every single boss that we have in this event dungeon is a champion. The A3 attacks all enemies. Before attacking, steals all buffs from a single target enemy. This effect cannot be resisted if this champion is under a veil or a perfect veil, fills the champion's turn meter by 15% for each buff stolen, and will ignore 15% of each enemy's defense as well as shield and block damage buffs. If this champion is under a veil or perfect veil, will ignore 30% of each enemy's defense instead. That's actually pretty cool. If he's a good damage dealer, he can easily get rid of Siegfried and Nice, right? But we're gonna have to basically wait and see if that's the case. The passive decreases all incoming damage by 30%. This damage is split equally among all allies except this champion, very similar with what Ferrokin the Fat does, if I remember it correctly, and increases this champion's damage dealt by 15% for each dead ally. Then, whenever the champion loses 20% of their max HP in one attack, has a 100% chance to evade the next attack. When this guaranteed evade effect activates, places a perfect veil buff on the champion for 2 turns, and has a chance of placing a true fear on all enemies, which cannot be resisted, and an HP aura in all battles. Damn! Evade the next attack. 100% chance. So if somebody smacks him and doesn't kill him, he's going to evade the next attack. But it can be from a support champion, so it's not that crazy as it may sound, right? Because it's any attack. So if an arbiter goes and smacks him after, he's gonna evade that, and the nuker is gonna wipe him later. But that is actually pretty crazy. Damn. Okay, that is the champion that is going to be the boss. Looks pretty interesting. Then, who that might be? Can you guess in the comments down below? Can you speculate what that champion can potentially be? Interesting. Then we have the event dungeon, and no, for the millionth time, they did not confirm anything with us. They did not announce whatever the event is, and there is no embargo on that event, and it's not like we don't want to talk about it. They just haven't confirmed it, right? Then, event dungeon, the gear set. I like the design on it. and that is the Chronophage set, Time Eater, right? That's what you guys said it means. It's actually a pretty interesting set, but I'm not sure how powerful it's going to be in the current meta, because we live in the meta where mythical champions dominate the game. So you're gonna get HP, resistance, speed, starts the round with 1 immutable stack, all the way up to 3 immutable stacks. For whoever is wondering, what is the immutable stack doing, Skratch? It's basically going to counter lockout champions, okay? Now, if you're bringing in Fabian, he's going to decrease the duration of buffs before locking the skills. So, he will still lock the skills by 2 turns, if I'm not mistaken, actually. And I think it's a good set, but I don't see myself going as crazy to farm this set as I was going for the pinpoint. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, because while it's nice at 2 pieces to get 40 resistance, I just don't see it as good, even for progression, even for all of you guys that are not looking to compete in arena. Because you're getting HP and resistance instead of speed and accuracy, which is more important in my opinion. I think this can be good in live arena, in classic arena. I would use this set on champions like Warlord, Krixia, Yumeko. Why? Because they will get locked if I have full stacks of this. And if they get locked, I'm going to be able to lock them back straight away. So it's kind of like countering the speed meta with lockouts. And then you lock them back without having a decreased cooldown. You can make a 4-piece set with a 4-piece stone skin, but it's really not going to benefit you that much. So that's why I don't see this set as crazy OP. But I'm very curious to hear other people's thoughts as well, because I actually haven't discussed with nobody about it to see what other people think, especially like endgame players. But personally, I am not too over the moon with this set or anything like that. Then, Event Dungeon, the gear set, the immutable buff, we already discussed about it, but for whoever is curious, it doesn't understand what I'm saying. A champion can receive multiple stacks of the buff. Each stack will reduce the effectiveness of any attempt to increase a skill's cooldown. For instance, if a skill specifies that is increasing a skill's cooldown by 3 turns, if you have 3 stacks, he's not going to lock you. If you have 2 stacks, he's going to lock you for 1 turn. If you have 1 stack, he's going to lock you for 2 turns. Basically, that's how it works. Then we have new event relics. 8 of them. 2 mythical, 2 legendary, 2 epics, 2 rares. We have Stars of the Jinang, Xibia Servitude, Last Laugh Amulet, Mask of Disquiet, Exazar's Totem, Saint Xavier's Tribute, Thunderous Circlet, and Jaws of Hatred. Design-wise, I'm not a big fan because most of them, they look exactly the same like the ones we already have in game. This is like the Crown of Corruption, but with a different effect. This is like the HP burn one, more or less. This is very similar with that. There are just too many that look similar. They don't feel very original to me in terms of design, but it's just my opinion on that. So we have the rare ones. The Thunderous Circlet. Wearer has a chance of placing a continuous heal buff on themselves for 1 turn after losing 25% or more of their max HP. Pretty nice. The effect chance... Oh, wow, it's not even 100% chance. So it won't even get to 100% even at max level. So it's not that nice because it's not something guaranteed to happen. Then Jaws of Hatred. When attacked, the wearer has a 10% chance of decreasing their defense by 10% until the end of their next turn. Huh? So what? Marius attacks me and I'm going to decrease his defense by 10% till he takes another turn? Sounds like weak sauce as well. Like, what is that? And it's only a chance. 20, 30, 35% chance to do it. Yeah, you're going to be fodder. Then the epic ones, we have the Exuzar's Totem. Accuracy, HP, and speed. That looks nice. The weather stir meter increases by 10% whenever an ally receives a crowd control debuff. Pretty nice. It can definitely be good on some. Then we have the Saint Xavier's Tribute. the wearer has a chance of placing a veil buff on themselves for 1 turn at the end of their turn. And the chance increases by 5% for each 15% HP lost. Okay, interesting. I don't like the stats, attack, accuracy, and crit damage. But it seems it could potentially work to counter some single target damage dealers. But it's still not guaranteed. Then we have the legendary ones, the Last Laugh. The wearer has a 30% chance to activate a delay effect when receiving fatal damage. And that is on a 3-turn cooldown. The delay effect, I think, was explained somewhere. I'm quickly going to try to find it to basically let you know what it means. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was. Give me a quick second. I'm going to try to see. Yes. So, the delay effect will prevent a champion from receiving fatal damage, instead delaying it to their next turn. A champion under the delay effect can still be killed by enemies on their turns. If a champion under the delay effect receives healing equal to the amount of the delay damage, they will not receive any damage on their next turn. If they receive some healing but not enough to equal the value of the delay damage, they will receive the amount of delayed damage remaining. Interesting. It could keep some support characters alive, or even damage dealers. Then we have the Mask of Disquiet. The wearer has a chance of activating an instant turn effect on themselves after returning from sleep. Bro, I was actually like, wow, and then I saw the sleep part. It's okay-ish, I guess, to counter some of the sleep mechanics, but do we really have that many? I mean, Sifi, yeah. What other PvP champions put sleep on you? Probably not many, right? And for PvE, I don't necessarily think that is that massive. Then we have the mythical ones. Stars of the Jinang. Whenever an enemy's turn meter is increased, the wearer increases their own turn meter by 10% of the enemy's turn meter increase. Resistance, HP, and accuracy. You see, they don't match the stats right at all on these freaking champions. These should have had accuracy, speed, and HP. And then it would have worked like a temporal chains. Like these two, it can work like a temporal chains, but the problem is the stats that you're getting on them are just not really helpful at all. So that's my main issue with it. It feels a bit weird, no? But you can get a lot of freaking turn meter. This is gonna be huge. Then we have the Xibia's Servitude. Enemies cannot land critical hits on the wearer if the wearer's HP is below 15%. Ain't really doing much, this one. And you know why? Because we've seen it countless times where they weak hit, and if you're that low on the HP, 15%, and even if they weak hit, not crit, which is a regular hit, it's not a weak hit, they're still gonna kill you with 15% HP. I'm talking about most of the nukers. So I don't think it's that great as a relic, this one. But the stars, I think, is the best out of all of them because it can give you 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% turn meter. So if a Sifi boosts the turn meter by 20%, you're going to get 10% of that turn meter on this champion, which will enable you to cut in front of their characters. With a temporal chain, maybe you have a supersonic, it's going to be freaking insane. Like, you're guaranteed to cut in front of the enemies. But that's pretty much all for this video, guys. That's what they shared with us. As soon as I will have any concrete information where I'm hearing them confirming, yes, is that collaboration that everybody's expecting, I will let you guys know. But so far, they did not specify anything. They just said they cannot talk about it. I would assume tomorrow they have their own embargo probably till tomorrow when the fusion starts, and that's when they're gonna confirm what's happening. But rumor has it that everybody knows already. So we're gonna see if that is actually the thing that we are expecting. Much love, appreciate all of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.